Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today I'm doing a book review of Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. This video is a collaboration with my friend Nunchi Goya. I'll leave a link to their channel down below, but we decided to do a collab where we read each other's favorite books of the year, and you guys know that I've read a lot this year, so it's a little bit hard for me to decide, but ultimately I chose one of my favorite thrillers of the year, No Exit by Taylor Adams. No Exit is what Nunchi will be reading in their reading vlog, and I'll be reading their favorite book of the year, Once Upon a Broken Heart. As usual, I'll start with a mini synopsis, followed by a spoiler-free review, and then end off with my spoiler-filled thoughts on the book. But don't worry, I'll warn you beforehand before I get into spoiler territory. Starting off with a mini synopsis. The actual synopsis was a little bit vague. Hey. But essentially the book is about Evangeline Fox, who is essentially a very die-hard romantic. At the beginning of the book, the love of her life is stolen by her stepsister, and she believes that it's her evil stepmother's doing. Evangeline is so heartbroken that she ends up making a deal with the Prince of Hearts, whose name is Jax, to stop the wedding. In exchange, he says that she will have to kiss 3 different people of his choosing when he wants her to. Only he's a little bit of a trickster, so he ends up creating more problems for her than he fixes. After the first kiss, Evangeline realizes that Jax has an ulterior motive that she doesn't quite understand. Regardless, she has a debt to pay off and has to do whatever he says, pretty much no matter what. After that, the story finally takes off. Now let's get into the actual review. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a solid 4 stars. I was beginning to think that I don't really like YA fantasy, but I really liked how this book was so magical and fairy tale-esque. I don't typically get very invested or interested in YA fantasy, but I was really engrossed in this particular world. To get this video out on time, I essentially had to read the book in 1 or 2 sittings, and normally that'd be pretty difficult for me given my short attention span, but I really enjoyed this book and was captured all the way through. I was very surprised that I liked this book because I actually DNF'd Caraval by the same author because I didn't like the writing style and I was a little bit bored. Going into this book, I had no idea it was in the same universe as Caraval and took place after the events of it. I don't think reading this book before Caraval necessarily spoils anything about the trilogy, but I've heard that there are references to different characters or events in that story, so it's recommended you read Caraval before Once Upon a Broken Heart. In my opinion, as someone who hasn't read Caraval in its entirety, I don't think it's necessary to read it first. You learn pretty much everything you need to know to understand the story just from reading Once Upon a Broken Heart. I didn't really feel like I was missing any context, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's best to start with Caraval before this book. Now that I think about it, I kind of wish I read Caraval first because I know a lot of people enjoy that trilogy with the exception of the last book, I think, and maybe I would have enjoyed Once Upon a Broken Heart even more if I read Caraval first. I'm probably going to give the series a second try within the next couple of months because I don't think I gave it a fair shot the first time. In Once Upon a Broken Heart, I really enjoyed Jax as a character. I don't think I would have cared for the book the same way if it wasn't for him, or if it was just Evangeline. Evangeline was an okay character, but I didn't find her very interesting. She seems very selfless and willing to help others, and I wish I kind of knew more about her backstory and why that is. An aspect I really enjoyed about this book was the newspaper clippings or the gossip sheets. I liked how the reporter, I think I'm going to butcher his name, I think it's Kitlas Nightslinger, I may have pronounced it horribly, but I really like how he would always spread gossip and half-truths about what was going on in the book. It was really entertaining to read about what the public probably thought was going on with the main characters because it was usually misconstrued and not always what was actually happening. My only main complaint about the book is with Jax and his apple eating. What's with the apple? Why were there so many scenes where he would bite and then drop an apple on the floor? At first I was like, oh, he's kind of charming and quirky, but then he kept doing it over and over again in every scene that he was in, and I was like, oh, okay. I'm not sure if that's something he does in Caraval, but it really stuck out to me, so let me know in the comments. I'll put some screenshots here to show you how many times this man bit and then dropped an apple. It was really excessive. I really enjoyed the ending cliffhanger, and I'm looking forward to reading the rest of the series. But I know the book came out in just the past couple of months, so I'm probably going to be waiting for a while. Overall, I really enjoyed Once Upon a Broken Heart and definitely recommend it. Now let's get into the spoilers. If you haven't read the book yet, read it and come back. Are you gone? Okay, good. One of the things that stuck out to me in this book was there were vampires for some reason. Now, I love vampire stories, but when I found out that Jax might turn into a vampire, I was so shook. That was such a crazy plot twist to me, but I was a little bit disappointed when he was cured so fast because I thought it would be a running problem at least a little bit longer. I was also confused because at this point, I don't really understand what being a fate even is. I know he's not human and he has some powers, but I was really shocked that he could even turn into a vampire in the first place. So that part where it's revealed that Luke actually injected him with his venom instead of just biting him for blood, that was really shocking to me. I also really enjoyed that scene between Evangeline and Jax where they're talking and sharing stories and trying to distract him from thinking about her blood. There isn't a ton of romance in this book, but when there was, I really ate it up. Is it weird that I kind of want Chaos to be a potential love interest for Evangeline? I feel like they had so much chemistry when they were talking with each other. I'm also still very curious about Jax's motives. I'm wondering if he wants the treasure in the arch or if it's the actual weapon. I thought it was really cool how Jax tried to manipulate the prophecy into coming true by making Evangeline do all sorts of stuff. But I'm wondering if she'll even be the key to the prophecy or the arch, if all this happened just because Jax orchestrated it. If she's really who the prophecy is supposedly about, then why does Jax have to force every line of the prophecy to come true? Wouldn't that just happen on its own if it was meant to be or if it was destiny? Maybe she's not the key to the prophecy. Last thing I'll say is I definitely called it about Marisol. I can't really blame her for being slightly evil because her mom was pretty awful towards her, but I thought her betrayal was so stupid. The way Evangeline tried to make things right and admit to ruining her wedding, but Marisol was so petty that she alerted all the guards. I cancelled her right then and there. I don't care what happens to her. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to check out Nunchi's video. If you've read Once Upon a Broken Heart, let me know what you thought about it, and tell me if you think I should read Caraval next. With all that being said, I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!